Today, we're going to be looking at a pretty interesting topic, and we have a pretty dynamic personality here with us today to take us along that journey of discussing this really important topic. And just in case you're wondering what is that really important topic, that topic is real estate. Real estate is one of the fastest way to position yourself to build wealth. And today with me in studio is no other than Katia Bellany, who is a real estate agent. And she will be talking to us today about real estate and helping you to also understand how to navigate the real estate platform. Katia, I must say it's such a pleasure to have you here today. You're such a multi talented personality, and I want to say welcome.
Thank you so very much, Gary. Thanks for having me.
All right. I want to begin by asking you to tell us a little bit about your company.
Awesome.
You are in Brooklyn. You have been doing well for yourself over the last quite a number of years. But tell us a little bit about your company.
Awesome. Thank you. Um, well, my real estate company's name is Best Realty Professionals. Best is an acronym for Bold Exceptional Salesperson's Team. I started the company at the age of 27. The reason for starting the company it's because I wanted to give others an opportunity to really use real estate as a vehicle to create wealth. And working and team has always been something that is of interest to me. So I went ahead and created the company. So I've been doing it now for well over 8 years. We are located in Brooklyn, New York. Our goal is to service the community and empower them to not just purchase one real estate property, but have a portfolio of real estate properties.
All right, great for that share. Now, you said what prompted you to get into real estate is your desire to really help people to build wealth through real estate. Can you tell us a little bit more about that vision? What prompted you to actually want to use this platform to position people for financial independence?
So my journey started honestly when I was in high school. I was in ninth grade. I had a teacher by the name of Mrs. Author. Um, she brought in the book Rich Dad Poor Dad to class, and we had to read the book. So in my 14-year-old brain at the time, I didn't quite understand the terminologies of real estate. So reading the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, I kind of sort of gained interest in what real estate would be. And when I went to college, I lived with a roommate up until I turned 18. And when I turned 18, I wanted to get my own place. So I walked into a real estate office around the corner from where I lived. She took me to see two properties. When she took me to see two properties, the real estate agent named Suzanne at the time took me to see a studio and a two-bedroom. I got really excited after seeing the two places. I asked her, "What do you do for a living?" At the time, I was making about $700 every 2 weeks, and Suzanne charged me a fee to see the property. So I was in school the next day. Little did I know that was going to change my life. So I got into real estate literally because of all of these little segments.
Awesome. Now, I must say, I admire that. And you call a very popular name, Robert Kiyosaki, the brain behind Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I do believe that in today's world, it's so important to start thinking about the wealth building process very early in life. And real estate is definitely one of the platform that, the 1% of the global population who are the wealthiest, they all have, real estate and portfolios. So I'm very happy. And I must say, I admire the journey that you're on to position people for financial greatness and through real estate. Um, One more thing I want to add here. on terms of that. What I love about what you're doing also is that you're helping persons to understand more about financial intelligence. And I see it as necessary
Mhm.
because years ago we might have said that go to school, get a good education, get a good job, and your life is going to be set from there. But years later, we see that the world has changed so much. And even with a good education, your first and second degree and master's degree, we're seeing that is not adequate enough to help you to have the lifestyle that you need to have. So understanding these investment portfolios, I think, plays a very tremendous role in helping people to live a better quality of life. And you are playing that significant role in that process. What I want to do now, Katia, I want us to look at what is the buying process for a property looks like. And I want us to take it step by step. So I want us to perhaps look at things like, appraisal, underwriting, insurance, legal fee inspection. Can we take it step by step? Can you help us to understand the process? And why I want us to go here is because we see that many persons attempt to buy their first home. They attempt to buy an investment property, and you don't want to make an emotional decision here. You want to ensure that you have the right information because a lot can go wrong, while a whole lot can go right here. A whole lot can go wrong before you say mark, set, and go. And part of your role is to really help them to be analytical when going to make that purchase. So, can we begin by examining the importance of inspection and what it looks like?
Awesome. So it starts before inspection. The first thing is obviously having a buyer consultation, where you will sit down with a licensed real estate salesperson or a licensed real estate broker like myself, and you will discuss with us what is your end goal, what is it that you would like to accomplish, and we will now have a consultation with a loan officer or a mortgage person or a banker, to analyze your income and your debt. That person will be the one that will tell you, based on how much money you're bringing in, how much money you will qualify to purchase a property. That is the first step in starting the process. Now, once you receive that pre approval, you will come back to myself or a salesperson to then take you out and see the properties that you are interested in. So there are various type of investors out there. So where we are located in New York, we encourage our investors to start off with multi-families so they can leverage the rental income to help them cover the cost of the mortgage, which is the monthly payment to repay back the loan. And so the good thing about acquiring a multifamily in New York, the government has a loan that is really low to get started, which is it's the FHA loan. You only need about 3.5% of the purchase price as a down payment if you are a regular person, if this is your first time purchasing a property. And that allows people to purchase anywhere from a one, two, up to a four family with very little down, 3.5%. If you are a veteran, then you do not need any money down. You only need 0%. So now with an FHA loan, you have to live in the property. So you would live in one and rent out the others, right? And that will obviously cover the cost of your mortgage and give you an extra money every month for your profit.
Wow, that was a lot that was said. So I really love how you break that down, though. And because what you're saying to the public is that In the traditional sense, if you're going to buy a home and you go into the financial institution, they may ask you for about 20% deposit down. So if you're buying a property at, let us say, $100,000, you need to at least come up with $20,000, or 300,000, you need to come up with $60,000. But what you have just pointed out, you have FHA, which is only requesting you to make a deposit of 3%. That's a
3.5.
major 3.5%. So you're going to be on $100,000 asset. You're only asked to make about $3,500. On a $300,000 asset, you're probably asked to make about $10,500 deposit. Now that is a tremendous opportunity that you've just opened up here. Now, I want to say this to the public. While we are sharing information about how the process works, I want to assure you that Katia, she has tremendous knowledge and experience doing what she's doing here, and she can help you navigate this entire process. And think about it. Why hesitate? Because Katia is not saying to you, just go buy your home. She wants you to buy a multifamily unit with a strategic game plan in mind. What that is actually saying is that with a multifamily unit, you only perhaps have to look at the upfront payment. If you're going to FHA, it's a very low upfront payment. But guess what else happened after that? Your monthly payment, your monthly debt obligation on principal and interest, tax, and insurance, that's not coming from your pocket. It is coming from the additional source of income from that property. So this is how Katia is going to set you up to become a first-time investor into real estate. And she has years of experience behind her to help you navigate this process. So I just wanted to emphasize that a little bit, Katia. So Katia, you've walked us through some of the steps that one needs to take to access the capital to start the home buying process. But we know that that's not the only thing to be considered. A lot can go wrong after you acquire the money. Can you really help us to understand some of the things that can go wrong and how you need to prepare yourself for that? Like for example, the inspection process.
Sure. So of course, now once you have your pre-approval and you come back to someone like myself to help you look at properties, once you fall in love with the property, you need to ensure that you get a home inspection. Very important. We have licensed home inspectors to help you get that home inspection done. A licensed home inspector goes into the property, look at the roof, look at your boiler, look at your water heater, and the foundation of the property, in addition to other aspects of the property, and give you a report. It allows you to understand what you are walking into. How sound is the property that you fell in love with? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Based on the report that you're getting. And in addition to that, it gives you an opportunity to better negotiate. Let's say, for example, if you are going into contract with the property and you found out based on the inspection report that your roof is 25 years old, that's a major concern. Is the seller willing to give you a discount based on the fact that the roof is 25 years old and needs to be repaired? Now you have information to present to your attorney, because in New York, it's an attorney state. You'll have to negotiate with your attorney to go back to the seller's attorney and say, listen, this roof needs to be replaced. I'm not going to go ahead with this transaction without the seller giving me some sort of credit. that could be a deal breaker, and it could also mean that, okay, maybe the seller has extra money and they will be giving you a break. So it's very important for you to get a home inspection done.
Yes, and you're so correct. I want to also emphasize this. Um, in our network, in Kathy's network also, they are persons who are trained and certified to do your inspection.
Hmm.
So you come to Kathy, it's not just to, you know, talk about the best way to access capital. She has the support network around her that will also help you to get in contact with the person with the expertise to do that home inspection. And I want to say is a lot can go wrong with home inspection. You may have physical obsolescence that some might be repairable or curable, but it might be physical obsolescence that is completely uncurable. But you don't know that, all right? And unless you have a certified inspector that is doing that inspection for you, they can save you a whole lot of money. Because in the case where you have physical obsolescence that you cannot cure, guess what? It's gonna, whether you can cure it or not, it's gonna cost you a whole lot of money. And once you have the information up front, as Kathy would have said, the cost of repairing or replacing physical obsolescence, those costs can come from the actual price that you're paying for. It can be discounted from the cost that you're going to pay for that, for the property. So that's so important. Katia, in my experience, I've had many cases where persons are going through the home purchase process and they didn't see the importance of um, legal, the attorney involvement. And a whole lot can go wrong not having the right attorney on your side. Um, is there, would you recommend that budgetary allocation be made to look at things like attorney fee, and perhaps what are some of the importance of this?
So when it comes to real estate in New York, as I mentioned before, New York is an attorney state. There are certain states that do not require attorneys, but in New York, you would want to have an attorney to a draft and analyze your contract, to represent you in the deal, because there are so many things that can possibly go wrong, right? You're not an attorney. You do not understand the law when it comes to real estate. So you want someone who's well versed in the law to represent you. And in addition to that, you're making a purchase that is part of your portfolio, that is part of your legacy. You want to protect it, because when we are acquiring assets, we want to protect our assets. So you want to not just have an attorney to represent you for that one particular transaction, but you want to have an attorney to guide you to ensure that you have the right cover to cover your business, to cover your assets, to cover your legacy. That person will guide you through the process of protecting you, because you do not want people to come after you for what you have worked so hard to acquire.
Thanks for that, Katia. Katia, I also see sometimes a couple of things can go wrong. You go through the entire process and purchasing process, you make your payments, but then upon completion, you then recognize that there's a lien on the property. And when you are not paying tax up to date, and the state may have a lien, you can lose that property. How much does that legal advice help in this regard? And can you shine some more light on this for us?
Right. So the role of the attorney is not just to draft the contract and show up at closing, right? The role of the attorney orders the title, review the title, ensuring that there are no liens or encumbrances on your name on the uh, any judgments on the seller's name and on the property that you are purchasing, because the last thing that you would want is for you to be liable for anything that is on the property after you just purchased it, right? So the attorney does a great job in ensuring that clear titles are conveyed at closing and ensuring that there aren't any judgments against the person that will obviously become your problem. The attorney negotiates back and forth with the seller's attorney. So you want to have an attorney to be part of the process. So I highly recommend.
Yeah, you're so correct. Because you might get so excited about the purchase, the price might be a good price, but then what you do not see because you're not doing that title search is the fact that there's a lien. And if the lien is high and you make the purchase, you owe the state can take that property away from you.
Mhm.
And you can have really no recourse in terms of that, perhaps unless the perhaps take that person to court to get back your fund, but you should have done all of these checks. So while real estate investment is beautiful, it's one of the fastest way to position yourself to build wealth. You want to ensure that you have a knowledgeable person like Kathy on your side that is really helping you to make informed and educated decision on the buying process. Again, Kathy has some of the top lawyers in US to work with. I've interfaced with some of them, Kathy, and I know that you have a strong team of persons there to help in the process. All right. So while this is about information sharing, it's also about ensuring that you know where to go to when you are thinking about making that purchase of your home. Katya, I want us to look at things at a little lighter level now in terms of real estate. While we look at FHA and some of the essential things that should be considered for the home purchase, can we talk a little bit about credit score? Because in cases where you have bad credit score, it really affects your intention to become a home buyer and to become an investor in real estate. Can you talk to us about FICO score, credit score?
Sure. So, of course, to purchase something here in the US, credit score plays a huge role into your buying power, right? Income and credit scores are the two things that they will look into to give you pre approval. And for most people, unfortunately, they struggle with having great credit score. They struggle to have what most banks would require for you, um, potential buyers to have, which is about 630 plus. Although there are banks that are willing to work with someone with less than that. But you want to have a high credit score when you are purchasing because it gives you an edge. It gives you the opportunity to pay less interest on um, on the loan. But in the event that one may not have good credit score, there are creative financing available for someone to still get in the game of real estate, and those creative finance would just require a little bit more money down. So in lieu of doing 3.5, you would have to do 10 to 20% down. So there are hard money lenders that are willing to give people who are experienced in the real estate field to actually use their money to purchase the property of their choice and then pay them back. Sometimes the rates for hard money loans can be anywhere from 10% and up. But it still gives you an opportunity to get into real estate if you do not have the right credit score. It's case by case basis. And in addition to that, there's also something called seller financing. Seller financing, the seller who owned the property outright may want to hold the mortgage for you. So they represent the bank in that transaction. So credit score plays a huge role. You want to, if you know that you are interested in becoming a real estate investor, it's important for you to pay your debt down. It's important for you to have a great credit score because it gives you an edge into when you are negotiating for the best rates out there. Um, in the future of becoming that real estate investor, you want to ensure that you do not allow car debt uh, to stop you from purchasing an asset because a car is a liability and not an asset. And I understand that many people are not well versed in financial literacy. That's the reason why, unfortunately, we have a crisis right now in the US, and that is a financial crisis because people are not financially literate. They follow what the Joneses are doing, whatever everyone else is doing, they go ahead and do it, but they don't have the means necessarily to actually do the things that the other person is doing. Everyone's financial life is different, right? Financial situation is different. So you want to ensure if the bank, if you have a credit card that gives you $100, there are laws. You don't use more than 20% on that credit card because the minute you use more than 20%, it will bring down your credit score. It sends a message that you are in financial limbo. So you want to manage, you want to monitor your credit as much as possible so that you can ensure you have the highest credit score out there. I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Gary.
My fault. I was saying I love what you said, and I just want to relate to some of what you said. What I've taken away is that um, as a buyer, a first-time buyer, or someone who intend to get into real estate, you need to really ensure that you have a healthy credit score. For example, what Kathy would have said, 680 is standard. You need to have 680. Some financial institution may be somewhat more flexible with that. I love the fact that you would have also highlighted that America is a country that runs on credit. And what we have seen is that millions of people just don't understand how credit works. So because they have access to this the piece of plastic, their utilization tend to go above 20, above 30%, and they do not understand how to reverse that process within a timely manner. They don't understand the billing cycle. So what you have said is so important. I also love that you would have said that in the event where you have that credit, where you have bad credit, they also have other options. They have the option of connecting with hard money lenders, and we have a number of those persons in our network that may be able to work with, that is say, 380, 340, but you've clearly established that the cost for capital will be higher than if you have the 680, 700, 750. But some of the hacks that we can look at, Katia, is that even in cases when you're buying capital at high cost, um, that could be refinanced within 6 months, 6 to 12 months, and it can be refinanced as a lower um, APR. So I think those are some of the options that we have. Um, I know, Katia, we're going to talk perhaps just now about some additional strategies. But I want to talk just a little bit about some of the challenges that we see in the market today. And what we're seeing is that there, in America at the moment, I think that there's a housing crisis. I think that there is an undersupply of about 4 million houses across America, which means that the demand for housing is much higher than the supply. That tells a big story. It says that getting into the real estate market is a very lucrative market. enough properties are not being built. The population is increasing. Young people are stepping away from mommies and daddies, homes. They want to get out into, on their own, but then there's not enough housing for them. How do you see that? I mean, is that a major advantage for real estate investors to actually get into this thing now?
Well, there's a saying that says to the best time to purchase real estate was yesterday. Right?
Okay,
The best time to purchase real estate was yesterday. So you definitely want to go ahead and
there's another
start.
say, yeah,
Yes. Okay. Because you're behind. It should have been yesterday, not today.
yesterday. Yeah, all right. I certainly agree. And I certainly agree. All right. What we're also seeing to happen today in America, Kathy, is that we're seeing some of the bigger companies. They are becoming major investors in the real estate market. Like, for example, we have seen Blackstone. They own thousands upon thousands of properties. They are now becoming corporate investors in the real estate space. Is that a challenge to rising stars in the sector, because the Blackstones and the bigger companies, they have that deep pocket and they can easily get access to the capital? Do you see that as any challenge, or do you think it is helping the situation? In fact, I think an analysis that we were looking at recently is that because they're able to buy up blocks in chunks, we see some of the folks they're buying and they're holding. So because they're buying and they're holding, they create scarcity. And with scarcity, the economy of scale kicks in, where the prices for real estate goes up across the board. The cost of buying and building goes up, and the cost of rental goes up. But how do you see all of this?
There's more than enough for all of us. The market is big enough. And the unfortunate thing is that we don't have as many investors, although it may look like, wow, this big company is getting involved and they have the funds to actually make some great moves. But no, the real estate market has more than enough for all of us. And
Okay.
we need to really get to take part into this big industry, because at the end of the day, it needs us. Right now, what we're seeing in New York, every single day, people come into the office and they're looking for apartments. There aren't enough apartments. Why? Because there aren't enough people purchasing. Um, Please get started. The market needs us. Do not get there shouldn't be any fear, because there are bigger companies that are doing things. Everyone comes in. There's more than enough room.
I agree. And what I also want to say to Kathy, I know that we have started an educational program, and that's something that has to be ramped up, because um, while I believe that there is access to capital out there, I know this because we represent a number of financial portfolios that can help real estate investors to access capital in a short period of time once they reach the pre-qualification criteria. But I sense there might be a degree of not enough information of how to invest into real estate, the risk, and how to mitigate the risk, and not enough information also about capital access. I find that happen even in developed, America. There are many persons who are struggling to access the capital, not because capital is not there, but because the information sharing is not there. So we have to do some work. Do you think that there's a need for more education transfer in terms of the tremendous opportunity that lies um, in you becoming a real estate investor?
So the need is great, and I think that's where we come in to play. And because this information is not taught in schools. When
That's
people go to school, they go to school to learn about a particular field that they're interested in. Even when you go to school to become a real estate salesperson. You do not go to school to become a real estate investor. You kind of like figure it out along the way, right? And there are various people that are in real estate and they don't own anything. They know all the terminology, they have experience, but they don't own anything. So yes, there is a need, and we definitely need to ensure that we are teaching as many people, that we're reaching to as many people as possible. Because
Yeah,
another for us to solve the problem, people need to be educated and they need to be able to take the risk. They need to be able to feel confident and going out there and actually making the purchase. So what we are doing is closing the gap.
I totally agree with that. Kathy, what you've just said, it's so amusing. It's so amusing that you can spend a few months, perhaps a few years, studying the real estate platform. You could even spend a few years practicing your craft. And as a real estate agent, many do not have their own homes. Many of them do not have an investment property. And I love that you pointed to the fact that you may go through your studies to become a licensed real estate agent, become a licensed real estate agent, but still do not understand how to invest in that portfolio itself. So you're perfectly correct. I know that we have started a process in terms of educating the populace about how the whole system work, and we have brought together an entire ecosystem where you have the education, but then you have the support to get into real estate, and you have the access to the capital and to move that process forward. Kathy, I must say it has been a tremendous pleasure talking with you today. I know how busy you are on the floor. I know you're a go-getter. You does no rest. But I want to also give you an opportunity, anything that I might not have asked and that you want to share with the audience, and please take this time to do so.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gary, for having me. This was great. I really want to let the population know that please get started. Reach out to us. This is a great year, 2024. We have the tools, we have the resources, we have the support, we have the team ready, willing, and able to guide you through the process. Do not wait when it's too late to say, wow, I missed out. I could have, would have, should have. We do not want you to be one of those. We don't want you to be a victim of would have, could have, should have. We want you to go out there and make things happen, because when you go out there and make things happen, you are making a difference.
All right, thanks for that share, Katia. And when Katia says that we have the team, we have the team. And Katia, we didn't talk about the team that could even help them pack their furniture out and move out. We have a transportation service expert who are with us also that can get to your location, pack you up, and move you into your new home. It's an entire ecosystem is actually built out for that.
Yes.
All right. So with that being said, I want to encourage you guys to um, keep following this platform and send me a DM. I'll be happy to put you in contact with Katia. She has a team of powerful minds behind her to really help you to navigate the real estate world. Do not procrastinate. You have the information now. If you're in New York and you need the support and to become a home buyer, to start becoming an investor into real estate, I want to encourage you to reach out to us. Katia will work with you to ensure that the process is like one, two, three. She will take most of the heavy lifting off of you. You just need to come with the intention to want to grow, to want to enhance your financial intelligence and position yourself to build wealth. And a team of experts, they're here to help you. Thanks for that share, Katia. Again, it has been such a pleasure being with you today.
Thank you. Have a great one. You guys can reach out to me on Instagram at Katia World. I am also on LinkedIn at Katia Bellany on LinkedIn. Bellany, that is Belony. And my telephone number is 347-228-7474, 347-228-7474. And I'm in New York, so please add a 1 if you are calling internationally. And my office is located at 3602 Clarendon Road. 3602 Clarendon Road, That is in Brooklyn, New York, 11203. Thank you. I look forward to working with you.
So there you have it. So there's no room for excuse now. Make contact with Kathy today.